Everybody, welcome back to KC Doge Gaming. Got some more Ashes Reborn for you here. That's actually my round 3 ShuffleBus match. Me, Killer Cactus against Josh. Playing my Victoria terrifying deck that has been terrifyingly bad for the first couple rounds of this tournament. But hoping to pick up a win here against Josh and his James list. Looking through Josh's list, not a ton that could really disrupt my opening. So looking at my first 5, it's looking at my 3 books: Frostback Bear, False Demon, Ghostly Mount. I'll bring a Raptor Herder as well. I contemplated Mist Typhoon in the first 5. You see me hovering over it a couple times here. James does kind of like to go wide. And I did contemplate bringing a Typhoon to try and clear the board out. But looking down through this list, I see Sonic Swordsman, I see Master Vampire, I see a couple of big guys that can give me some trouble later on in the game once I want to start swinging through with bears and potentially Nightmare Mounts and Dark Presence stuff. So I think I do go with the Fadeaway as my last card to start this off. And had I wanted to start Typhoon and spend all my dice, I would have had to give up one of the books as well, which, isn't ideal. So I take a little bit of time to deliberate this, but I do think I end up going with the Fadeaway as my 5th card, planning to take out one of those swordsmen. I put him on either a swordsman or a vampire, or potentially both in the first 5. Probably James' ability to get a Rising Horde, and then his books. I think he's got Salamander Book, he's got Guilt Link. I can't remember now without looking at the list. I think that's about it. But so I'm expecting to see at least one big thing come out. And yeah, I do go with the Fadeaway there. So he rolls more basics. He's going to choose who goes first. 2 basics for me. I think 6 for him. So he's going to have me go first, I believe. And once we tell each other to good luck and have fun, I think we'll get started here in just a second. So again, this first round, I'm not really expecting anything crazy. I think James will throw a couple of units out. He'll probably get out the Guilt Link. I'm going to lay my books down, try and get as much value out of my units as I can. He's not running nature dice. That makes me a little more comfortable to play my Charger mount in the first round versus the Pale Steed mount. So there's no Ping Fester, there's no Ice Trap, there's no nature ping into just a couple times to get rid of my 2-life mount. So I'm going to meditate here just to get the dice I need for the round, basically. A couple of nature dice up. And I'm going to throw the Frostback Bear book down to start it off. Against a go-wide board, I like to get the bear down quickly, so it's always a threat. He starts with Guilt Link, which I think is solid. It's, kind of lets me know it's there and makes me a little more hesitant to attack James. And put some damage on him unless I want to lose a unit. So now that link's down, I'm thinking in my head, I need to find a way to make the Raptor Hatchling the thing that dies to the Guilt Link, right? So how do I play this round in such a way so that I can make that happen? And looking at his board now, I'm kind of thinking, hey, maybe I can sneak the Spectral Charger mount out early and get a quick 4 to his face. But again, if I'm expecting the Sonic Swordsman and maybe the Master Vampire both, I kind of want to save that to try and get a quick strike swing in on one of those to at least force the guard if they don't want to take it and die. deciding what I want to do. I put the Ghostly Mount book out. Don't know why I was hovering over the frog die there. I think I'm just making sure I count up my dice that I need for my first 5, so I know what basic I want to spend. I think it's going to be a sympathy die. I'm double checking because I've miscounted that so many times. So Ghostly Mount book down. Now my 2 big unit books are out, ready for me to summon. And we'll see what he does here in response. I already meditated off a crescendo. He's only got 2 in the list, so that's good for me, knowing that it's going to be tough to bypass. Oh, the Lightbringer book. That's right. He has the Lightbringer book that he brings out now. And then James' ability, I think, to get a Rising Horde here. Yeah. So he's got the Rising Horde ready. And I'm double checking what the ready spells say, deciding whether I want to just lay a False Demon book down now or start putting a little bit of pressure on him. So I'm considering summoning the Raptor Herder here and deciding if I want to spend a nature die or a sympathy die to put it in play. I know I need at least 1 nature die for the bear. I need at least 1 sympathy die for the ghost. I'm just trying to make sure I don't spend the wrong stuff. And I figure if I do put the Raptor Herder out, so I do end up doing that, I play with a sympathy die, thinking, well, if he puts out the Lightbringer, I can mount up with the Charger mount and hit him for 4. And I'm happy to get the 4 damage on him early. The Hatchling might not get value, but like I said, it's probably my Guilt Link target for this round anyway. I'm hoping to make sure it dies to that. But we'll see what he does here. Raptor by itself isn't too threatening. But, always the threat of the side action mount up with the Ghostly Mount. And not something I typically do, by the way, just throw the Raptor Herder out there kind of on his own. But again, no nature dice, and look through the list, no real way to ping this Raptor Herder off before I can mount it. No Anchor Knot in the list, no like Enchanted Violinist, none of that kind of stuff that could come down and just ping it away. So I felt pretty safe putting it out here. And it also gives me a little bit of flexibility to see what happens with which mount I want to play out. One of the strengths of Ghostly Mount, right? If I can use the Charger Mount or the Pale Steed, which one do I want? So he plays the Rising Horde, and obviously don't want to attack into that with a mount, so I'm going to go ahead and put the bear out there. So now threatening bear over the top, and to get the +2 on group tactics on the Raptor Herder. So get the bear out, no side action. And now if he brings the Lightbringer out, I can just swing the bear over the top and take the 2 damage. So I was okay with that as well. We'll see what he ends up doing here. He goes Sonic Swordsman right away. So, doesn't want the bear to get through. So he brings out the Swordsman, but that's going to immediately prompt me to bring out the Spectral Charger mount and swing it at the Swordsman. So, trying to take advantage of the quick strike here. Obviously expecting him to guard. He's not going to, not going to let me just eat his Swordsman with a mount. So pretty sure I'm going to force the James Guard here and get my 4 through, which is what happens. That puts the Guilt Link token out. So I get my damage, and he's got his token in. And now he summons the Lightbringer, and this is where I thought I really messed this game up. I thought I made a huge mistake here. So looking at his dice, he's still got Master Vampire dice showing. Obviously 2 cards in hand. I thought maybe Salamander Monk Book and Master Vampire, not planning to summon the Vampire in the first round. So what I if he's on that line, what I probably should do here, being forced to attack, is swing the bear into the swordsman. He's got no guard. That way I know I can put 2 damage on the swordsman. I can get my false demon out later in the round, use that to get the other 2, and then fade away the vampire is probably the plan I should have been on. But that's not what I do. And I was trying to, so I didn't see that line. I was trying to figure out, okay, well, now what do? I can swing the raptor in, but if I do that, I run the risk of him countering, killing the raptor, and then Guilt Link to take out either my bear or my mount, which is obviously bad. So eventually I decide to just swing at the Lightbringer, I think, here with the bear. Obviously don't want to attack into the Rising Horde because it brings out the Fallen. Or, well, actually, you know what? I think I do that. I think I decide if I don't do it, he's just going to Guilt Link kill it anyway. And bring out the Fallen. So I said I might as well do it for him and make him lose one of these 1/1s to the Guilt Link. Was, I think, my line of thinking. So I swing at the Rising Horde with the bear. He can't guard, so he's going to have to take the damage and bring out the Fallen. And now I'm sitting here with an exhausted bear and an exhausted mount against a board of fresh guys. So now I'm right now thinking I made a big mistake, that a Master Vampire is going to come out, and I'm not going to be able to deal with both of them in round 1 as I otherwise could have. But I missed this line that he's about to take, which is attack Raptor with Lightbringer. Right, so now I'm kind of in a pickle. If I guard with Victoria, he has kind of free reign with his Sonic Swordsman to, attack my exhausted bear, double exhaust my mount if he wants, or just eat it with the vampire that I think is coming, or the Fallen that are out there. So I don't really like that play, but if I let the Raptor go, then Guilt Link can take out either the bear or the mount, and he'll just get rid of his exhausted Lightbringer. So I'm not in a good spot here either way. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose either the bear or the charger mount to either Guilt Link or a swordsman attack, depending on what I do. I'm not sure what I'm typing here in the chat. Telling him that I really messed up this round because I'm still thinking I should have hit the swordsman with the bear to try and get both of his big guys out of here in round 1. So still contemplating the Vicky guard, but I eventually decide to let it go. I let the Raptor hatchling go. I don't want to use my guard this early. I want to guard that swordsman attack so that he doesn't get the 2-for-1 me. And now waiting for him to Guilt Link away my bear. He's not sure why I think I messed up there in the chat. But I am totally expecting now a Guilt Link to make me lose either my bear or my mount, both of which are at least exhausted. I guess losing them out would give me the Raptor back, which I could replay theoretically with my frog die if I wanted to pass on Fade Away or the demon, but kind of want both of those at this point. And using an illusion die power is not really going to get much for me here in round 1, so pretty much on the plan of demon and Raptor Herder, or I'm sorry, demon and Fade Away to finish this round out. So he thinks about this for a little bit. And actually, I think it turns out he thought he had ended his turn. He doesn't. He does not Guilt Link here. He just didn't realize he didn't click the end turn button. So he's eventually going to end the turn without Guilt Linking me. And I get a little bit excited, thinking maybe I have a bit of a reprieve and he's waiting for something else to, waiting for something later, and maybe I can sneak my demon out and get value out of it before he decides to guilt link it away, but we'll see here. Yeah, there's the end turn. So back to me. I am gonna play out my demon book now, I believe. Or actually, well, let's see what I do. I might take a little bit of time to fade away. Nope, I'm gonna play the demon book. Go back to him. So now my demon's ready. If he doesn't guilt link now, I can bring it out and kill the Lightbringer with the demon. So again, expecting the guilt link here. Thinking about what he wants to do. Still showing those Master Vampire dice. So I'm still kind of expecting guilt link, Master Vampire, and then maybe play the Salamander Monk book down with it, just without summoning the monk. But instead, something completely different happens, and he goes with the Blood Chains. So he takes out his Lightbringer, double exhausts my bear. So not the line I would have went with for Josh. I think I would have done guilt link there with the Lightbringer instead. Made me just lose the bear altogether, or the mount. And tried to Blood Chains whatever was left over to get that double exhaustion. But instead, I'm gonna go ahead and spend a turn to fade away the swordsman because the demon doesn't get any ping value yet. And now that I have a double exhausted bear, I'm a lot less concerned about losing it to guilt link. So I let him put his monk book in play and kind of look at this board and think, I really still don't want to summon this demon. I think he's not going to end his round without attacking, at least with the swordsman. So I'm going to see if I can get some kind of value out of this demon. I think I'm going to go ahead and pass here. I'm considering putting the demon out. I want to get a body out there. Maybe I want to get in front of Victoria. I'm just kind of thinking through my lines here. If I'm, okay with taking the 3 damage. I think I am. I'd rather him not get that swordsman attack to take a unit out and double exhaust something. I go ahead and pass. So he's still got he's out of cards, so all he can do is put the monk in play. Unless he wants to meditate up to a ceremonial power and pick up the Rising Horde for next turn, I guess. He puts the monk down and ends his turn. Back to me again. I have no real value for the demon, so I go ahead and pass. Just kind of trying to see what he's going to commit here. Again, thinking it through. Who does he want to attack? He's going to go ahead and swing at Victoria and just take the 3 damage to the face now. Leave the Sonic up to deal with my demon, apparently. So I take the 3, but that's going to allow me to play the demon and get rid of one of the fallen instead of the monk. I think if I'm him there, I maybe attack with the monk. Maybe I swing into the charger mount and see if I will waste my guard on that. And if not, you can just ping the charger mount away, take the 2 life out with these couple little pings. And instead, so I play the demon, I take out a fallen, and now I have a demon up against his swordsman. Still kind of on plan to guard the swordsman attack. Now thinking he's probably going to guilt link his monk away to get a monk spirit. I guess that's what he was waiting for, just a unit to get some more value out of guilt link with, other than just losing a unit to kill one of mine. But it's nice to get the monk spirit out of the monk dying and get that 1 extra damage in. But I think he would have been better off earlier, making me take out my bear and then double exhausting something else with the blood chains. But there is the guilt link finally. So the monk goes down, spirit comes up. I happily discard the double exhausted bear. And I'm sitting here with the demon, now deciding, like, do I want to take out one of these 1/1s, or do I want to just go right to the face with James? And I decided to go to the face. He's only got one blocker up going into top of round. And I've got bears and I've got other terrifying stuff that can get over those 1/1s. Plus frog ping to get rid of the fallen. I do go second in round 2, but I've got some other stuff in my deck too, crescendo, other removal, that if I wanted to get a big swing with the charger and the demon top of round 2, I might be able to find a way to get through one or two little guys. I'm content to trade the damage to the face there. I come out a little bit on top of that, and we're going to pass out here. So I come away ahead on board and on life by 1 after round 1, which is considerably better than I thought I was going to be after I made that bear attack into the Lightbringer, or into the Rising Horde earlier. So happy with how that played out. We go into round 2. I draw a couple Raptor Herders. Steady Gaze, which is nice if he gets out another Knight. My 1 of Molten Gold, which I kind of don't like to see until later, but I do like to see it to just to know I'm not going to meditate it off. I can use it for removal of something that can block a terrifying unit in a pinch. But I kind of like it as a game ender, or as a threaten lethal damage, at the very least in the list. The Copycat I'm not too happy to see. I mean, he doesn't have a ton in his list that can benefit me to copy. Blood Chains, maybe, depending on the situation. I'm not going to copy Vengeance, but I mean, could theoretically copy James' ability to go grab an ally if I need one to mount. But not too happy to see Copycat. He goes with Raptor Herder to get a couple extra bodies out there. Again, nothing that my bear can't get over top of. So, and nothing I really want to steady gaze here. So knowing that, I've got a couple options. I could bring out a bear. Obviously, they can swing over this board. I can also bring out the Pale Steed mount, which would put a Raptor Hatchling in play for me as well, and just give me some life, some beef to put out there in front of these little guys that can, make sure I protect my Spectral Charger mount as well, from these little, 1/1 pings, or even a Divine Pump. Like, he could Divine Pump the Monk Spirit and swing for 2 at my Charger, which would probably force an early guard, which I don't like. So I end up going with the Pale Steed. I think that's the right play. That way I can jump at least one guy in front of the Charger if he decides to swing at it. And it puts 2 bodies on the field. So now threatening the group tactics again, if I really want to try and get a swing in there. I don't meditate. Well, I couldn't meditate because of the side action. It'd be kind of nice to be showing a frog to threaten, frog ping plus crescendo plus swing, but don't have that. So back to him. See what he does here in response to my 2/4 unit Garter hitting the battlefield. So he comes in with which I think this is a good play, comes in with the Spirit Attack on the Raptor Hatchling. Going to force me to exhaust my Pale Steed mount if I want to save this Hatchling from the little, 1-die attack, or spend my Phoenixborn Guard, neither of which I really want to do. And the Hatchling, I mean, against a wide board like this, I don't know that I want to go in with a big swing at any point to James's face. I mean, I have to get through a lot of chump blockers. Maybe if I drew Mist Typhoon, which would have been excellent here to have at the beginning of round 2. But I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and let the Hatchling go. I don't want to waste either of these guards this early in the round against that little attack. So a good attack for him to take take a body off the board. But the other thing is, Victoria's only got 5 battlefield, so I'm not super upset to see the hatchling go. And then here's James using his ability, looking for the rising horde. Ashtaki gives me 2 different chances to try and copycat his ability, but I pass on both of those. I don't want to go get an ally right now. I still have one in my hand. So he's got a rising horde, and it's back to me. And I'm thinking about a few things here, but I think now I'm going to do the meditation to get some of the dice I need up for later. Again, just doing some math here, counting my dice up. Figuring out I can play pretty much everything in my hand. All 3 of my books, my Steady Gaze, a Raptor, and the Copycat if I need it. So I'm going to meditate up, get myself a frog. I'm upset that the Mist Typhoon comes off the top there, since it would have been so great to have. But I get a couple dice there that I'll need later, and then kind of take a look at summoning something. So I do bring out the demon. It lets me ping off a monk spirit. At least some value out of it to get a body off his board for later in the round, and something he can, easily guilt link me with, or blood chains. And gets another 2/2 out there, so never really bad to get a 2/2 body out against a bunch of 1/1s. So back to James. I mean, he still has the group tactics available, but don't think he wants to swing into me with my 10 damage sitting there waiting to swing back. So I'm expecting him just to put another body out there. Salamander Monk. He could Lightbringer force an attack, but I'm not sure that really helps him. I would just probably throw something at his Raptor Hatchling. So there's the Monk. I think that's fine. Kind of a punt play if he doesn't want to do anything else. And he's only spent 2 dice at this point, and I've spent half of mine. And I'm going to spend some more because I'm going to bring the bear out now. So, gets my 5th unit on the board. Nothing out there that can block the bear. So he brings out the Lightbringer, which to force me to attack, and I think I'm more than happy here to just throw the bear at James, unblockable, which I do. So I'll take my 2 terrifying damage. Does exhaust my bear, but he gets in with his attack. Takes James up to 10 wounds, and I know I'm sitting on molten gold. So in my mind, he's at 13. I only need to push 6 more through. And I've got a lot of damage on the board if I can find a way to get past all of his stuff. But again, no Mist Typhoons yet, no Crescendo, no Dark Presence. Body Inversion even would be nice for the Raptor Hatchling. But I don't have any of that, so I'm just going to kind of hang out and see if I can weather the storm for the rest of this round, knowing that right now on board my units trade pretty well with his if we get into a stare down attack war here. But he can go pretty wide. He's still got the Rising Horde. A lot of ceremonial dice sitting up there, so for potential widows if I kill something. And another swordsman as well, so spends everything that's not ceremonial to play the swordsman, and I just kind of slam dunk a Steady Gaze almost immediately right onto that Sonic Swordsman. I want nothing to do with him for a couple of rounds. So before he can get any attacks in with the swordsman, I hit him with the Gaze. Takes me all the way down to just 1 die left, and so now I've got a couple things I can do with this nature die, right? I can ping off, something like the Raptor Hatchling. But before that, he's going to Guilt Link now. I'm happy just to get rid of my exhausted bear. He's already done his work for the round. And he got rid of... I'm not sure what he got rid of there. Maybe it's a Fallen? I'm actually not sure. I was thinking he got rid of the Swordsman, but I guess not yet. But he does Guilt Link. He's waiting for a main action. There's the Rising Horde. Would have been an interesting play to put the Horde out first and then Guilt Link that, or maybe put out the Horde, try and swing with the horde at Vicky, or just to see if I would take the 1 damage and avoid the exhaust a guy and kill him just to put 2 fallen out. I think I might have done that. So we could have got the value out of that Rising Horde. But now it's back to me, and I am thinking about what to do into this board. I don't really want to summon the Raptor Herder because I don't get the hatchling since my battlefield will be full. And I don't really want to lose that value, so I'm kind of looking at what attacks I have. I could throw a demon at his raptor. That's not a terrible attack. It probably baits out a James guard and puts him at 12. I'm also kind of thinking, well, he's just got 1/1s, and all my stuff on the board has life, so I can tank a couple of, a swing or 2 here without countering before I really need to react to anything. I'm also looking at his dice pool and seeing that he's got Widow dice up, so if he does swing in, or if I swing at him and take a unit out, he can react with Widows, and then his board is probably a lot better off than it would be here. He'd have 6 fresh units against my 3 instead of 5 against my 4, so I don't really like that trade. And I'm just trying to find something that makes sense to do. I think I end up finding nothing that makes sense to do. I could nature ping something, but again, that brings out the Widows. I don't really want to do that. And he's used his Guilt Link up and didn't bring him out, which, maybe should have put me on the plan that he didn't have it to begin with. But either way, I'm going to pass. Don't know if he's trying to pull off a vengeance play or something. He's still got, vengeance into destroy Rising Horde and Salamander Monk, get 2 fallen, have a full battlefield. Could even destroy the Swordsman if he wanted to as well to get +3 attack on 3 guys. So I'm kind of expecting that and want to make sure I have all my blockers up. So he contemplates a bit, and I think we're going to see him start throwing 1/1s kind of at my board here. Maybe at a demon to start. And I'm going to stick on my plan of block, no counter. At least until I need to make a choice. And now comes the attack. So it's going to be Rising Horde first. Into the demon. I look at the Pale Steed mount. I look at Victoria. I decide none of those make any sense, so I'm going to just tank the 1 damage here. Definitely don't want to counter and let him have... Whoops, dropped my mic. Don't want to counter and let him have the 2 fallen, that's for sure. So I do that, start thinking if, do I want to try and get some value out of this demon that's wounded? Could still throw it at the hatchling and probably force a James guard, but again, I don't want to bring out the spiders if he has those, so I think I just go back to pass. Again, think about the nature ping as well, but I think I'm going to pass here. Again, knowing that eventually if this demon does go down, I have the Raptor Herder in hand that I could then play for full value. Was going to pass, then said, no, really, do I want to make this attack? Do I want to try and give him these spiders? No, I don't. I'm going to go ahead and pass. I'm going to make him swing at me again. So I think this time the Raptor Herder, if I remember correctly, comes at my demon to try and take him down. I also think if I'm Josh, I'm swinging at the Charger mount rather than the demon here. Both are 2 life, but the Charger mount's significantly more powerful. And can threaten your knights and master vampires and stuff. I'm checking his discards to see what's in there. There's the attack. There's a raptor herder on the demon. Um, Again, I could Pale Steed Guard, but I don't really want to, because that'll force an exhaust and potentially bring out the spiders. I think I go ahead and Vicky Guard here, thinking that I'll make him throw another 1/1 at my demon before it goes down. And if he has to throw another one, then he loses the group tactics bonus eventually on the hatchling, unless he does get the fallen out or the spiders out. So I go ahead and Vicky Guard this one. I'm gonna make him try one more time to kill that demon, and I think I'm gonna pass one more time. Because again, I don't see a good. I mean, I see a good attacks, but I just really don't want the spiders. I think the spiders come out. They trade a lot better than anything on his board does, with my demon and my charger mount. So I'm very conscious of having to deal with those widows this round, and like to avoid it if I can find a way to. And I thought, maybe he'll just go to face with the squad after this, because he doesn't want to lose the value on the hatchling. But I think long and hard about trying to take that hatchling out, or even maybe a fallen out. Right now, and then ping a widow, I think was my thought. I said, okay, I can take out a unit and then ping one of the widows away if they do come out. But I go back to pass, and again, my thought is let him kill the demon. I can play the raptor herder and be back up to a full board here. But I think now this works out in my favor. I was expecting an attack with the fallen on the demon, but I think he's going to bring the salamander monk instead. Maybe just trying to get some value out of, if I do decide finally to counter with that monk. He gets the spirit as well, or at least out of the monk, I guess. Let's see what he does. I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to see monk attack into the wounded demon. Yeah, so monk into the wounded demon, and here's where I say, okay, widows is bad now for him, because the spirit's going to come out, and he's going to lose a unit one way or the other if he does want to play widows here. So I am going to go ahead, and once I realize that, I'm going to go ahead and counter the monk spirit here with the demon. Get the spirit off the board, or get the monk off the board. Spirit comes out. My demon's gone, but it was gone anyway, no matter what. So no widows, which wouldn't have been good for him there. And back to me now. I'm still kind of trying to think about this. He's the point now where he could potentially just pass out if I pass, and go into round 3 with a much bigger board than me, even though his swordsman will still be exhausted. He's only got 2 blockers up. I mean, I could send the squad at him, but one of those blockers is a 0 attacker. And he's got 10 damage, so that would be, I'm swinging for 8, so it would, with the molten gold in my hand, if he were just to take it all and try and swing back, top around, I win. But I decided to just go with the fallen. I say, okay, now I'm here with, if he does have the widows, with only a couple units left to attack, I'm okay making the swing and then pinging off one of the sleeping widows. But I was also kind of, because of that monk attack, thinking like me, maybe he doesn't have the spiders because he would have attacked with the fallen there if he did. But he goes ahead and guards with James, which again tells me he does not have the widows. So I'm a lot less scared of the sleeping widows now. James up to 12 damage. So in my head he's at 15, so I need to find a way to push 4 damage through this board. So kind of eyeing down a draw into Dark Presence next round to get a Dark Presence down and push my Charger Mount through for 4. But back to him. Still got 3 attackers up. But still not a good idea for him to come to face here. And I did think about pinging down the Fallen on my last turn, but decided I think I'd rather just play Raptor Herder on the next turn. Get those couple bodies out there. So he's going to think about it. With my guard down, I think if I'm him, I'm probably still trying to focus down this Charger Mount. Only two life on it, so 2 damage will take care of it. But instead, he's going to go ahead and Blood Chains. So he takes out his double exhausted swordsman to Blood Change my mount, and I have a decision. I can copycat here this chains, maybe take out my demon and exhaust something of his, but there's really nothing on his board worth me exhausting, especially not to get rid of a false demon. It's exhausted, but it's a 2/2 body that'll be there next round, just to exhaust a 1/1 or a Raptor Hatchling. Not really interested in that, so I think I'm going to go ahead and not copycat. And then again, I wouldn't be able to summon my Raptor Herder, so I'm not sure why it took me so long to make that decision. But I thought it through for a second, and I'm going to pass the copycat here eventually. There it goes. So my Charger Mount's exhausted now, but now that I'm not afraid of the widows anymore for certain, I'm going to go ahead and get the bodies out here and try and make an attack. I know that I can go to face here with 3 units if I want to. I'm only going to take 4 damage in retaliation. But he's got more he's got more stuff to do, so he spends a die. Is that... I'm not sure what that was. Vengeance. So he plays the Vengeance to take the Rising Horde down, bring out 2 Fallen, and boost up his Monk Spirit, which is about to swing at something. So he goes at Vicky here, and again, I think this is a point where he probably should have just went after one of my guys. And it's at this point, I think, where Ashteki kind of freaks out and duplicates a Fallen. It decided to make more Fallen for him, and we both kind of thought this through. And I said, hey, that other Fallen just came out of nowhere, and it shouldn't be there. Oh, maybe that's not what this is. At some point, Ashteki freaks out and duplicates a Fallen. It's not here. But I go ahead and take that 2 damage. I'm ahead on life. I'm not I'm not being threatened with lethal just yet. And I'm going to go ahead and swing the squad here. So again, the worst he can do is retaliate back for 5, which would put me at 15. But I'm going in the top of round with Molten Gold in my hand, so if he lets this 5 damage through to go to 17, then the game's over. So that's my thought. I'm thinking, all right, he's going to probably... He's dead if he doesn't throw some guys in front of these. And I think this is where Ashteki freaks out. So notice right now there's 3 Fallen on the board and a Raptor Herder. Or I'm sorry, Raptor Hatchling. Unexhausted. So he's going to start declaring blockers. And Ashteki is going to make a 4th Fallen kind of out of nowhere. So he goes to block the Raptor Herder, which he didn't mean to do. He tries to switch it to the Hatchling, and a Fallen just comes out of nowhere. And now there's 4 of them instead of 3. And we think about this for a little while and realize that it's kind of bugged out. But he does block the Raptor Hatchling and lets through the Steed Mount and the Herder. So James is going to take 3 damage here. Yeah, here's where he's asking me if another Fallen just appeared out of nowhere. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. There was only 3 before, because I was worried about taking 5 damage back. But that Fallen is fake. It's not really there. And we'll eventually figure that out. So yeah, I go ahead and resolve the battles, and Ashteki lets me hit James with the Raptor Herder. It was not blocked by the Fallen. Now you can kind of see there's that one Fallen over there on his left that's glitched out, and it's not really there. The one Fallen countered by Raptor, it died. So it's gone, and now James is going to hit me back for 4 with his 2 Fallen and his Raptor. I think he just goes straight to Vicky's Dome here. I think he had a chance to take the Spectral Charger mount out of the game if he wanted to. I don't know if that would be correct or not. I mean, we'll see kind of how it works in the next round. That mount never does get through anything, so he might have been correct to leave it here and not give me another Raptor Herder back to play. I go ahead and pass main. I have nothing left to do. No dice, no units, no free cards in hand. I think Josh is going to punch me in the face here for 4. Yep, there's the swing. Vicky takes the 4, so still really close. 15 damage on James, 14 on Vicky, 4 life on each Phoenixborn left to go here. And he is wider than me on the board, so going into round 3, I do get to go first, but I'm a little nervous here that he can find a way just to get wide on me and push through that last 4 damage. I make the decision here that Copycat's not going to help, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it away. Good in a lot of matchups, Echo, Odette, that kind of stuff. Against a deck like James is just going to throw units at you over and over. Not really helpful. But into round 3, so I can't even begin to explain how awesome a Mist Typhoon would have been to draw into here. I didn't get it. Of the 3 in my deck, I don't pull any of them. Or I guess there's 2 left in my deck. I did meditate 1 off. I don't pull Crescendo to clear out a blocker and swing. I don't pull Dark Presence to get my one of my guys up and through this, cavalcade of 1/1s. I get none of that. So he's at 15. I still do know that I'm holding Molten Gold, so I only need to push 1 more damage through somehow. And I do still have a bear. So I think, okay, I can summon a bear. If he puts out a blocker for the bear, I can gaze it. And then if he doesn't have another bear blocker, I can just get the bear through for 2, and then Molten Gold wraps up the game. So that's my plan right now. I did get 1 Resonance to start to focus up my Ghostly Mount book, although without second book, which is another thing that could have helped me greatly here. If I would have got the double focus Ghostly Mount, the Nightmare Mount comes out, and can do some damage. But instead, I'm just going to put out the bear, threaten him with the terrifying swing, see if he has an answer for it. Haven't seen a Master Vampire all game, so I'm kind of expecting one of those. I'm just getting ready to slam dunk a steady gaze on it when it comes down. And considering a meditation here, or a resonance to get my dice back, was going to meditate away the body inversion. Then I thought, well, why don't I can use resonance to get one of my 2 dice, and I can keep that body inversion to invert the raptor hatchling and take it down. So I decided to keep the inversion. I end up not meditating here, and I actually try and play the body inversion instead. Oh no, I did meditate up 1 frog. Okay, I do meditate a frog up. And an illusion die, so I throw a couple things there, lose a crescendo, which makes me upset, as that would have helped me get through this board. So I get 1 frog up, because there's also always frog ping into swing, but that would be susceptible to widows. But he does not have a bear blocker. Instead, he is going to go ahead and blood chains, takes out the monk spirit, which couldn't block anyway, and exhausts my bear. So he takes away my terrifying 2 swing. So now I have got to find some other way to get this last damage on him. All the while making sure I don't take a retaliatory 4 damage swing. We still are even on board. He's got 4 units to my 4. Remember that Fallen is glitched out and not really there. So I'm considering what to do. I think we... Ashteki freaks out on us again here a little bit. I go to side action, play the inversion, thinking that I can invert the hatchling and then attack. But then I think, well, if I do that, I don't really have a main action. And I can't summon a unit. I don't think I want to pass here. So eventually I asked Josh if I can take that inversion back and go with resonance as a side action so I can play the molten gold. I don't want to swing into anything right now. Anything other than the charger mount, James can just tank, and then he's got the advantage on battlefield on me to swing back, or he can block and widows, and none of those things are good for me. And I can't body invert the same time I put it down. So here's me asking him, if it's okay if I take this back. And we try and turn on manual mode to do that, and Ashteki will not let me take that body inversion back to my hand. I tried for a little while here. Okay, so Ashteki stuff done. I go ahead and play Resonance instead. Using my nature die for the basic, I focus up the Ghostly Mount book and take back the nature die so that I can molten gold and also a sympathy die. And I go ahead and slam the molten gold for 3 on James. So now he knows he can't... The disadvantage of that play is he knows now that he can't leave anything open. Although, I guess he kind of already knew that because the charger mount could deal the 4 damage. But, I mean, now anyone that gets through is going to take him out. But I don't have a bear. And I don't have anything... I don't have Dark Presence, and I don't have the Nightmare mount. So I don't have anything terrifying to get over this board. And I'm kind of panicking here, thinking, how am I going to get through this? And I think at one point I even tell Josh, like, man, there's a bunch of cards I could have drawn this round that would have helped me win this game. Dark Presence would have been great. Crescendo would have been great. Mist Typhoon would have been insanely amazing. Second or third Ghostly Mount Book or second Resonance, any of that stuff would have been excellent. But I don't get any of that, so I go back to him, and he is going to swing the squad minus a Fallen here. And he accidentally, he tries to crescendo me, but then realizes that he can't do that because he also needs to summon Sleeping Widows off of one of these blocks if he's going to have enough guys up to block my retaliatory swing. So we have to rewind this as well, because he's already told Ashteki he's going to play Crescendo and discarded a card. So we're going to take a little bit of time to rewind this and get the Crescendo back. So that he can summon the Widows off of my counter, because he is swinging for lethal here. This is attacking for 4, which is enough to kill Vicky. So I'm going to be forced to block and then obviously forced to counter because I'm blocking. And I can really only block one guy here. If I block more than one guy, he will play the Widows and be wider than me on board. I would have only 1 or 2 guys left unexhausted. He's going to have at least 3. And I can't make any more units, so because my battlefield's full. So if he has 3 to my 2, he can just play a Vengeance, take out a couple of exhausted guys, and swing for lethal. So I need to be very careful with how I block this attack. I thought he was trying to take his attack back, but he just wants to swing with the 3 guys that are outlined in red. I forgot that Fallen over there in blue is still glitched out and isn't really there. But eventually here I'm going to declare blockers. I'm going to take the Raptor Herder in front of the Hatchling, knowing that he'll die and block the 2. And that will free up a battlefield spot for me to summon either a False Demon or a Hollow from my hand. Okay, finally I'm here going to start assigning some blockers. So yeah, I'm going to block the Hatchling with the Raptor Herder. It doesn't look like I am because of that glitched out Fallen, but that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to let these other 2 through to go to 16. Because again, I want to make sure I have at least 3 guys up for his inevitable Sleeping Widows. Yep, so all that finally done. I'm going to take 2 damage here up to go to 16. 2 health left. He's going to lose a Raptor, and he's going to gain a couple Spiders. I'm checking my discard to see what's left. I still have Mist Typhoons in there. I still have a Crescendo. I still have Dark Presences. I'm seeing all those things. So the other thing I still have is a Sympathy die. Sympathy power die up. That, looking at my cards, if I end up not being able to make 2 units, I don't need that Sympathy die. I could use it for the Hollow right now, and then still be able to both make a False Demon and Steady Gaze something. And that might have been the right line. But instead, I'm going to go ahead and draw a card thinking, look, if I draw Mist Typhoon, I have 2 in there, or if I draw Crescendo, then the game's just over right now. And I know like a third of the deck is those cards. And there's also 2 Dark Presence in there still. There is there's the Resonance and the Ghostly Mount Book, although at this point, well, the Ghostly Mount Book would help too. There's 2 of those in there, I think. And I could, or no, I couldn't. I had to spend the sympathy die, so I wouldn't be able to summon the Nightmare Mount this round. But if I can survive till next round, then that's a play. But I'm thinking, look, if I draw Mist Typhoon, or if I draw Crescendo, the game's over. So maybe I should just draw a card here. Now, I don't draw one of those, but I do draw Dark Presence. I can play that, and if I can get rid of those spiders, I can sneak through something. But apparently I'm going to think about it first. Check my discard pile again, counting, all the possible cards that I think can win me the game if I draw them. And I figure there's a good chunk of my remaining deck, that would be really beneficial to me to have right now. So I do draw this card at some point here in the future. Here I go. And I get the Dark Presence, so I don't get the Mist Typhoon, I don't get the Crescendo. But I do get Dark Presence, and that is, at least gives me a line to find a way to get some more damage through. And then I look up at his dice. I'm afraid of a Crescendo. So I don't have time to play the Dark Presence. I need to make another unit here. So now I'm just deciding if it's going to be a False Demon or a Hollow. If I make the Demon, then I for sure can't play the Gaze and the Dark Presence. So I think I go with the Hollow here. Because I'm thinking, okay, if he puts down another guy... I almost made a Demon. I thought better of it at the last second. If he puts out another Knight, which he has dice for both Sonic and Master Vampire, if he does that, then I need the Gaze. I can't not give myself the Gaze. So I go ahead and play the Hollow. I knock down his Sympathy dice. I'm going to make him meditate for that Crescendo. Figure this way I can still play I can play the Dark Presence, and then I still have Gaze and or Demon to play. But he goes Lightbringer, so he's going to make me swing. And this scares me a bit. Right, because it's back to him on an even board with me. So I have to attack. I can't play another unit. I can't steady Gaze, so I've got to swing, but I will at least use this opportunity to get rid of one of these spiders. I think I can also side action Body Inversion onto the battlefield actually now. I believe I will do that. If I don't do it now, I'll do it next turn. But eventually I do actually announce that the Body Inversion is on the field and allowed to be used. It doesn't really have value here. The Raptor Hatchling's gone. I don't have a unit with just Terrifying on its card. Otherwise, I could Body Invert a Spider and then swing over with the Terrifying unit. But I don't have a Bear up. But I still want it on the board because I know if I do get to next round, I can always Body Invert, swing with a Bear or with a Nightmare Mount if I have that. Yeah, so side action Body Inversion, that's out there now. Main action is going to be attack a spider with something. I'm deciding if I want it to be a Hollow or a False Demon. I think the right answer is Hollow because that opens up a battlefield slot for me to play the Demon or the Demon book if I absolutely need it. So that's what I do. I think it began about the demon or the charger even, because it won't take any retaliatory damage. But again, I go with the hollow because I want to keep that battlefield slot open so that I can play a demon if I need another unit. So spider and hollow trade. I pass back to him. I'm nervous about a crescendo attack, but I'm still alive if he does that. I have 2 life left, so I would only take 1. So I'd obviously block the spider, and then he'd be exhausted out. So I could summon the demon, and the dark presence, and if he didn't have a unit that could block something terrifying, he'd be done. But instead, he boosts up the Lightbringer to 2, which makes it lethal. And goes ahead and swings just the Lightbringer at Vicky. So I am forced to block. I have an open slot now, so I don't need the false demon to block and die. So I can, or the charger mount, so I can go with the steed mount to tank this, counter, kill the Lightbringer, and stay on the board. Yeah, so I block with the steed mount. Lightbringer goes away. I take 2 damage and exhaust. And I guess I was open for like a vengeance into crescendo play there. That could have ended the game, but he must not have both vengeance and crescendo. And he meditates there, losing a final cry, which is huge because that would have just ended me. And there wouldn't have been much I could do about it. So he doesn't have the final cry. And on my turn, I'm confident now after that turn that he doesn't have the vengeance into crescendo. So I go ahead and meditate up a die and play the dark presence. So now that gives me, a chance at a way through. I still have 2 guys up. I can, attack and kill the spider. And if I do that and he doesn't have a way to make something that's not a 1/1, then I can just dark presence through. I mean, he does have the salamander monk, but that won't really help him there. And again, I have 2 life left, so I can take 2 damage. I can take 1 damage here and not die. So he passes, and I don't agree with that pass. I think he should have made the salamander monk there and tried to see what I do. And he concedes here. He must not have another way to make something that's not a 1/1. Again, I can hit the spider here on my turn with the false demon. He has to block because if he doesn't, it's lethal, so James is dead. But I think he could have made the monk, swung with the fallen and the monk's spirit, or with the monk, I would block the fallen, let the monk through. Vicky's at 1 life, and he's got nothing else. We both pass, and I can still make another demon, or I can still make another false demon. So we don't both pass. So yeah, I have another unit still, so I'm going to get this damage through. He understands that and concedes it to me here. So Vicky gets her first win in the ShuffleBus tournament. I'm just happy that Vicky doesn't go over. But a great game with Josh. Thanks for letting me record it to get on the channel. And again, great, well played by Josh. And thanks for the game. Thanks for listening. And we will see you guys next time here at KC Doge Games. Take care.